The bounty posting flickered across every mercenary hub in the Andromeda sector. 500,000 credits for one target. A human female. 23 standard years old, last seen on the mining colony of Arcturus 7, the Syndicate called her Kira Valen. To the galaxy's most feared hunters, she was just another payday. Commander Zethran of the Krathian elite examined the grainy image on his tactical display. The human looked small, fragile even. Brown hair pulled back in some primitive fashion, green eyes that seemed too bright for someone worth 500,000 credits. He clicked his mandibles in what his species considered amusement. This? His second-in-command, Vorak, leaned closer to the screen. This is what the Syndicate fears? Apparently she stole something rather valuable. Zethran pulled up the classified file. Experimental neural weapon, prototype, could destabilize entire star systems if used correctly. And they sent us after a single Deathworlder? Vorak's laugh echoed through the bridge of their assault cruiser. I almost feel insulted. Zethran understood the sentiment. The Krathian elite had toppled governments, assassinated warlords, and broken siege lines that held for decades. They were the best. Sending them after one human seemed like using a plasma cannon to kill an insect. Still, 500,000 credits was 500,000 credits. Prepare the drop team, Zethran ordered. Full tactical gear. I want this done in under an hour. What Zethran did not know, what the Syndicate had conveniently left out of their bounty posting, was that Kira Valen was not just any human. She was from Earth, the actual Earth, the nightmare planet in the galactic backwater where gravity crushed bones, where bacteria evolved to eat metal, where the dominant species hunted megafauna for sport before they even discovered fire. Deathworlds were rare, Earth was legendary, and Kira had grown up in the Australian outback, where the local wildlife made most alien predators look tame. She was currently sitting in a bar on Arcturus 7, nursing something the locals called whiskey, when her implant pinged. Incoming threats, multiple signatures, military-grade hardware. Well, damn. She set down her glass, her voice carrying that peculiar accent that made other species think she was perpetually amused by something. I was hoping for at least one more drink. The bartender, a Tellurian with 4 arms and excellent hearing, looked at her with concern. Trouble, Miss Valen? The expensive kind. Kira stood, rolling her shoulders. You might want to close early tonight, Rax. Things are about to get loud. She had known this was coming. The Syndicate did not forgive, and they certainly did not forget. She had stolen their toy, sure, but only because they were planning to use it on civilian populations. Sometimes the right thing to do was also the stupidest thing to do. Story of her life, really. Kira slipped out the back, out. Entrance, her boots silent on the metal grating of the colony's lower levels. Her neural implant fed her constant updates. 12 hostiles, Krathian signatures, elite class. Oh, you have got to be kidding me, she muttered. They sent the elites. She should have felt afraid. Krathian elites had a 98% mission success rate. They were bigger, stronger, and had technology that made human military gear look like stone tools. Instead, Kira felt that familiar rush of adrenaline, that peculiar human response to overwhelming danger that made other species think her kind was collectively insane. Her heart rate increased, her pupils dilated, her muscles flooded with oxygen. She grinned. The first hunter found her 3 minutes later in the industrial sector. He dropped from a ventilation shaft, plasma rifle already tracking her position. Big mistake. Kira had been 12 when she learned to hunt saltwater crocodiles with her grandfather. Speed and surprise only worked if your target did not see you coming. She had seen him 2 corridors back. The homemade flashbang she had rigged to the junction box went off exactly when she triggered it. The Krathian roared, his optical sensors overloading. Kira did not waste time. She closed the distance in 3 steps and drove her carbon fiber knife straight through the weak point in his armor, right where his secondary heart was located. Hunters knew anatomy. Good hunters knew everyone's anatomy. He went down hard, making wet, choking sounds. Sorry, mate, Kira said, already moving. Nothing personal. Well, actually, it is a bit personal. You're trying to kill me and all. Her implant chirped. 11 remaining. The Syndicate's weapon was currently hidden in a storage locker 3 levels down. Kira had no intention of leading these killers straight to it. Instead, she led them into the maintenance sectors, where the colony's guts were exposed and every shadow could hide a threat. Zethrin received the alert about his fallen hunter with cold fury, one of his team, dead in under 5 minutes. She got Varnick, Vorak reported, disbelief coloring his voice. Clean kill, knew exactly where to strike. Impossible, but even as Zethran said it, he was pulling up Varnick's final combat feed. The footage showed the human moving with predatory efficiency, exploiting environmental advantages, striking with brutal precision. This was not some scared colonist. This was someone who knew how to kill. New protocols, Zethrin snapped. Treat her as hostile alpha priority. No assumptions. Standard kill patterns. His team acknowledged, but Zethrin could hear the unease in their voices. Krathian elites did not do unease. They were the predators, the apex of military evolution. Yet, watching that footage again, seeing the way the human moved, the way she had anticipated Varnick's approach, Zethrin felt something he had not experienced in years. Doubt. Kira knew they would adapt. Good hunters always did. So she changed tactics. The maintenance sectors had industrial equipment, power conduits, chemical storage, plenty of things that went boom if you knew what you were doing. And Kira definitely knew what she was doing. She rigged 3 separate traps across the next 15 minutes using materials that would make a safety inspector weep. Fuel cells, coolant lines, magnetic locks, all the fun toys that colonies tried to keep away from civilians for very good reasons. Hunter number 2 and 3 found trap number 1. The resulting explosion took out an entire section of corridor and sent both Krathians tumbling into a recycling chute, 9 remaining. You know what I love about you lot? Kira called out, her voice echoing through the empty corridors. You are so confident, so sure of yourselves. You probably did not even research what Deathworld means, did you? Silence answered her. They were learning. Good. See, here's the thing. She kept moving, kept talking, using her voice to mask her position. Earth is not just dangerous because of the gravity or the weather or the radiation. It is dangerous because everything there is trying to kill everything else. We evolved in that. We are not the biggest or the fastest or the strongest. She triggered trap number 2. More screaming, more cursing in languages she did not speak, 7 remaining. But we are persistent. We are creative. And we absolutely, positively do not know when to quit. Zethrin was reassessing everything. Half his team, gone. The human was not running. She was hunting them, using the environment like it was an extension of her own body. Commander, Vorak's voice crackled over the comm. Suggest we pull back, regroup, orbital bombardment. Negative, Zethrin's pride would not allow it. We finish this, close formation, thermal scanning. She cannot hide forever. But Kira was not hiding. She was in the central cooling tower, 12 stories of pipes and platforms and absolutely frigid temperatures that made her breath frost in the air. She had disabled her heat signature an hour ago, using a trick she learned from a smuggler on Titan Station. The remaining 7 hunters entered the tower in perfect formation, disciplined, professional, deadly. Too bad they were looking up when they should have been looking at the structural supports. Kira had spent the last 10 minutes carefully cutting through the primary load-bearing columns with a plasma torch. Not all the way through, just enough. She triggered the charges. The entire platform collapsed. 7 Krathian elites, each weighing close to 300 kilos in full armor, crashed through 12 stories of failing infrastructure. Metal screamed, bodies tumbled. The impact at the bottom sounded like thunder. Kira descended slowly, carefully, using the maintenance ladder. By the time she reached the bottom, only Zethrin and Vorak were still moving. Barely. The commander looked up at her through a cracked helmet, his alien eyes wide with feiturgy, something that might have been respect or might have been terror. How? He managed to rasp. Kira crouched down, meeting his gaze. You came to my home. Well, not my actual home, but close enough. You threatened my life, and you really, really should have done your homework. She stood, retrieving their weapons, their comm units, everything that could identify them. Tell the Syndicate something for me, Commander. Tell them Kira Valen says hello. Tell them I still have their weapon, and tell them the next team they send better bring more than 12. She paused at the exit, looking back one more time. "Oh, and Commander? Welcome to the Deathworld experience. Hope you survive the medical bills. The colony's emergency services would find them eventually. Probably. Maybe." Kira did not particularly care either way. She had a weapon to move, a syndicate to avoid, and apparently a reputation to build. Just another Tuesday. The medical frigate arrived at Arcturus 7 exactly 14 hours after Kira walked away from the cooling tower. Zethran was conscious enough to transmit the message before passing out from blood loss and 3 fractured limbs. The Syndicate received his report with cold silence. Then they doubled the bounty. 1 million credits, dead or alive. Kira learned about the price increase while hitching a ride on a cargo hauler bound for the Outer Rim. The captain, a grizzled Valorian named Torch, showed her the updated posting with something between admiration and horror. "You made them look like fools," Torch said, his whiskers twitching. "The Krathian elites have not lost an entire squad in 20 years. Now they lost 12 hunters to 1 human in a single night." "Technically, I only killed 1, Kira pointed out. "The rest were just gravity-assisted career changes." Torch barked a laugh that sounded like grinding gears. "The galaxy is going to be very interested in you, Miss Valen. That kind of bounty attracts attention, bad attention." "Story of my life." Kira leaned back against the cargo crates, cleaning her knife with a rag. "How long until we reach Epsilon Station?" 6 days, assuming we do not run into trouble." They ran into trouble on day 3. The ship that intercepted them was a Phantom-class hunter vessel, top of the line, experimental cloaking technology, weapons that could crack a moon, and it belonged to someone Kira actually recognized. "Attention, cargo vessel." The voice over the comm was smooth, cultured, and deeply amused. "This is Captain Scylla Thorn of the Nightfall. I believe you have something I want." Torch looked at Kira with panic in his 4 eyes. "You know her?" "Unfortunately." Kira moved to the comm station. "Hello, Scylla. Been a while." "Kira, darling." Scylla's hologram materialized. She was Etherian, tall and elegant with silver skin and eyes like liquid mercury. "I heard about your little adventure on Arcturus 7. Very impressive, very messy. I aim to entertain. The Syndicate is offering quite a sum for you. Double what they paid for the Valtorian Chancellor last year." Scylla examined her claws, which were painted in iridescent colors. "I'm almost tempted to collect." "Almost?" "Well, here is my dilemma." Scylla's smile was sharp enough to cut starlight. "You stole something the Syndicate wants, something dangerous. I am curious what you plan to do with it." Kira considered her options. Scylla Thorn was not like the Krathian brutes. She was smart, calculating, and had a personal code that made her unpredictable. They had worked together once 3 years ago on a job that went sideways in spectacular fashion. "I plan to keep it out of their hands," Kira said honestly. "They want to use it on civilian populations, testing, see how many minds they can scramble before the galaxy notices." Scylla's expression shifted, something cold flickering behind those mercury eyes. "How many civilians?" "Estimates said around 40,000. Initial deployment. Then they scale up." Silence hung between them for a long moment. "I see." Scylla's hologram tilted its head. "And you thought stealing their prototype would stop this?" "I thought stealing their prototype would slow them down long enough for me to figure out how to expose them." Kira met her gaze. "I was not expecting them to send the elites, or to offer 1 million credits for my head." "You embarrassed them. Organizations like the Syndicate cannot afford embarrassment." Scylla drummed her claws against something off-screen. "Very well. I am not taking this bounty. But others will. Many others. I know. You need allies, Kira. People who can help you survive what is coming." "Are you offering?" Scylla laughed, a sound like wind chimes in a storm. "Perhaps, but first you need to survive the next 24 hours, because according to my intelligence, the Syndicate just hired the Kashari twins." Torch made a sound like a dying engine. Even Kira felt her stomach drop. The Kashari twins were legendary, 2 Xanthari hunters who moved like shadows and killed like natural disasters. They had never failed a contract. Never. "Well, damn," Kira said quietly. "Guess I better get ready." Scylla's hologram flickered. "Good luck, darling. You are going to need it. Nightfall out. The connection severed. Torch was already plotting evasive courses, his multiple hands flying over the controls. We need to drop you at the nearest station, right now. I cannot have the Kashari twins attacking my ship. Relax, Torch. They want me, not you. That's exactly what worries me. But Kira was already thinking 3 steps ahead. The Kashari twins were efficient, brutal, and methodical. They would not attack a moving ship in transit, too many variables. They would wait until she disembarked, then strike when she was vulnerable, unless she gave them a better opportunity. Torch, how attached are you to your escape pods? The Valorian's whiskers flattened against his face. Why do I not like where this is going? Kira explained her plan. Torch called her several very creative insults in his native language. Then he helped her anyway, because cargo hauler captains understood risk versus reward, and having Kira Valen owe you a favor was worth more than a few escape pods. The pods launched 18 hours later, scattered across 3 different trajectories, each one broadcasting Kira's biosignature, each one heading to different stations in the sector. The Kashari twins would have to split up or choose one target and hope they guessed correctly. Kira was actually in the 4th pod, the one Torch rigged with a stealth coating and fired on a completely different vector toward a forgotten mining station in the belt. She watched the 3 decoy pods scatter on her display, a tight smile on her face. Come on, you beautiful killers, pick wrong. They did not pick wrong. Kira's pod had barely touched down on the abandoned mining platform when her sensors screamed. Both twins. Somehow they had tracked her through the stealth coating, through the biosignature misdirection, through everything. Of course, she muttered, grabbing her gear and abandoning the pod, because nothing can ever be easy. The mining station was a skeleton, stripped down to bones decades ago when the asteroids ran dry. Just empty corridors, vacuum-sealed chambers, and a whole lot of nothing. Perfect. Kira moved through the station like she owned it, setting up positions, marking sight lines, rigging what few traps she could manage with limited materials. The Kashari twins would be expecting traps. They would be careful. But careful only got you so far on a Deathworld girl's home turf. They came through the main airlock 20 minutes later. Silent, professional, absolutely lethal. The first twin, Rax, was the tracker. Enhanced vision, neural predictive algorithms, and reflexes that made quick-draw artists look slow. The second twin, Nyla, was the killer. Close combat specialist with blade skills that bordered on precognitive. Kira watched them from her hiding spot in the ventilation system, her breathing controlled, her heartbeat steady. Humans had one advantage most species forgot about: persistence, patience, the ability to wait for the perfect moment, even when every instinct screamed to move. Rax paused, his enhanced eyes scanning the corridor. He signaled to Nyla, 2 fingers, left corridor. They had found her first trap. Good. That meant they were confident. Confident hunters made mistakes. Kira triggered the trap anyway, not the explosive kind, the distraction kind. A series of pressure releases that sounded exactly like footsteps running in the opposite direction. Nyla moved instantly, her body a blur of lethal grace. She hit the corner expecting a target. She found a cargo net instead. Simple, primitive, completely non-technological. The kind of thing enhanced sensors did not detect because they were looking for threats, not fishing equipment. Nyla went down in a tangle of polymer cords, cursing in rapid-fire Zenthari. Rax spun, his weapon tracking for the real threat. Kira dropped from the ceiling vent directly behind him. Her knife found the gap in his armor before his predictive algorithms even registered her presence. Not a killing blow. The Kashari twins were too valuable, too skilled. She wanted them alive. Rax stumbled, his enhanced systems going haywire from the neural disruptor she had coated the blade with. Stolen from a black market dealer 2 systems back. Expensive as hell, but worth every credit. He collapsed, twitching. Nyla was already cutting through the net, her blades moving faster than Kira could track. Time to leave. Kira ran, not away, toward. Straight at Nyla, who was halfway free and absolutely furious. The Zenthari's eyes widened in surprise. Nobody charged the Kashari twins. Nobody. Kira slid under her guard, using momentum in that lovely Earth gravity training that made her faster in low-G environments. She came up behind Nyla and slapped a magnetic restraint on her wrist. Then, she triggered the industrial magnet she had rigged to the wall. Nyla slammed face first into solid metal, stuck fast. She snarled, trying to cut the restraint, but Kira was already backing away, hands raised. "Easy," Kira said. "We are done here." "You are dead," Nyla hissed. "The Syndicate will send others, hundreds. You cannot fight them all." "Probably not." Kira checked Rax's pulse. Still alive. Good. "But here's the thing. I do not need to fight them all. I just need to make it more expensive to kill me than to leave me alone." She pulled out a data chip, tossed it to the floor where Nyla could see it. "That chip contains everything. The Syndicate's plans, the weapon specifications, targeting data for their test sites, everything I stole and more. It is coded to release to every major news network in the galaxy in 72 hours unless I enter a cancel code." Nyla's expression shifted from rage to calculation. "Blackmail. Insurance." Kira moved toward the exit. "Tell your employers they have two choices. They can keep sending hunters and watch their secrets go public, or they can cut their losses and forget I exist. They will never accept that. Then I guess we will keep dancing." Kira paused at the airlock. "By the way, you two are really good. Best I have fought, but you made one mistake." "What mistake?" Kira grinned. "You assumed I was prey." "Humans are not prey, Nyla. We are the things that hunted prey to extinction. We are the nightmares that nightmares have nightmares about, and we absolutely do not quit." She sealed the airlock behind her, leaving the Kashari twins trapped but alive in the abandoned station. Someone would find them eventually. Probably. 3 days later, Kira's dead man switch did not trigger. The Syndicate had made their choice. The bounty was quietly withdrawn. Official story was she died in an accident. Tragic. Moving on. Scylla contacted her exactly 1 hour after the bounty disappeared. "Impressive," the Etherean said. "You actually made them blink. Not bad for a Deathworld girl. What will you do now?" Kira looked out at the stars from her new ship, a small, fast courier she had traded for using the Kashari twins' gear. "I think I will keep being a problem. The galaxy has plenty of people like the Syndicate. Someone should remind them that humans do not scare easy." Scylla's laugh echoed through the comm. "You are going to get yourself killed." "Probably." Kira started plotting her next jump, "but it will be one hell of a ride." She cut the connection and activated the jump drive. Somewhere out there, the universe was full of bullies, tyrants, and monsters who thought they were untouchable. Time to prove them wrong. After all, she was Kira Valen, Deathworld born, Syndicate survivor, hunter of hunters, and she was just getting started.